I remember when I was a boy hearing about Rosa Parks being arrested. Rosa Parks was a black woman in Alabama, a very segregated southern state in the United States. And one day, riding a public bus home from work, she refused to give up her seat to a white person, which was against the law. And she was arrested. She and her husband both lost their jobs. She received death threats for many years. But her resistance sparked the civil rights movement in the United States. First, it inspired a bus boycott in her city, and then protests and demonstrations spread across the United States. And about a decade later, we ended up with really landmark civil rights legislation that tries to protect the rights of all people, especially the black people of the United States. Today, we celebrate the baptism of the Lord. It's about Jesus' identity as the Messiah and about his mission. It's important for us to remember that dimension, the idea of mission. Baptism isn't just one of the stages in growing up. It's not like getting your baby shots and then getting your first haircut and then getting your first pair of shoes. Baptism isn't one of those things. Rather, it's about who we are and what are we to do in our lives. At his baptism, Jesus was anointed for his ministry. He was given a divine commission to begin his work. What was his work? Well, in the first reading in Isaiah, it speaks about the role of the Old Testament prophets, the ones they called the servants of God. And their responsibility was to bring forth justice and to be a light for the nations. The prophet was to make this happen not by crying out and shouting, but rather through gentleness and understanding. The second reading gives us another important aspect of the mission of Jesus, the idea that his mission was for everyone. Peter finds himself in the house of Cornelius, a Roman centurion, and that was scandalous for a Jewish person. The Gentiles, the non-Jews, were considered unclean, and to associate with a Gentile made the Jewish person impure. But Peter had had a vision and a change of heart, and so he preaches to everyone that God shows no partiality. Jesus' mission was likewise for Jews and Gentiles alike, but he included not only the Gentiles, but also the unclean, those who were oppressed by the devil, those who were considered most impure. Jesus went out to those people, to the people on the fringes. He touched them, he healed them. We learn from these two readings that Jesus is called to bring justice and to be a light for the nations, and he offers that for everyone. This feast, in that sense, is also about us. We too are baptized. We too are called to a mission. Rosa Parks never intended to get arrested, but she wrote later in life how religion had shaped her life, and so she stood up for what is right, like the Israelites had stood up against the Pharaoh in Egypt. She demonstrated great courage, and her one action became a catalyst that would bring forth justice for the whole nation of the United States. Like the servant in the first reading, Rosa Parks did not cry out, did not shout in the streets. She made one small, courageous decision. We can follow her example and the example of Jesus. We don't need to do great, grand gestures and spectacular things in our lives, but we can make good, simple choices in our everyday lives. For example, how do we respond when a friend, a coworker, a family member says something that's racist are anti-gay or very sexist? Or how do we respond when at work someone is sexually harassed or is treated unjustly? Or how do we respond when friends talk bad about or attack others on social media? Do we have the courage to speak out? We also need the courage to go out to everyone as Jesus did. So many people are lonely and hurting and isolated. Many people are going through illnesses like cancer, and now so many people dealing with the isolation caused by COVID-19. So many people don't have enough food to eat. Some people have no job, or maybe they're working 2 jobs and still can't take care of their family. Some people are excluded from the community, from their families, even from their church because they're gay, or because they're bullied, or because they're elderly, or because they're fleeing war and violence. We can be a light for those people. We can reach out to them. We can reach out outside of our comfort zone and go out to meet people of different backgrounds, different skin colors, different religious beliefs from different countries. The light of one individual may be small, but it has the potential of growing tremendously when it spreads to others. Rosa Parks' light spread to an entire nation. Jesus' light spread to an entire world. Let us be a light to the nations by the choices that we make every day. We never know what the impact will be that we have.